Brother
What's
man,
up? कैसा है?
not for you. I'm good. Not for you. The easy staring at the ceiling life in lockdown. Eh? You've been busier than ever before.
I know, man. I have. This is my lockdown look, by the way. I like to look like a Sardar who's about to leave on Gedi any second.
Yeah,
That's
you know
that's
that
how I'm.
that yeah, yeah
Huh?
which reminds me, one of the things I've never asked you in the numerous occasions that I've interviewed is, do you get this bong connection question often? Oh, das tumi ki bangali? Are you
Dude,
bong?
it's my favorite thing in the world because I sell thousands of tickets in Kolkata, and then I go and tell them I'm from UP and Bihar. So so that's my favorite thing in the world. Yeah.
Listen, I love this whole series. You've kept yourself busy through April. I mean, the middle of April till now,
Yeah.
doing these lockdown concerts, and they're actual concerts. It's not just you going out live to a bunch of people in the World
No.
Wide Web watching. So the concept of it for people who've been living under a rock, or you haven't made it to the select few before you shut down registrations and payments. Talk about
Yeah.
that.
I'm doing a show every night for charity, man. We picked 12 different charities. So, everything from helping migrant workers to helping older people who are, stuck at home with COVID, or to helping daily wagers or, feeding stray animals, etc. It's a different charity every night. And we sell, I think, about 250 tickets for the show. And I get on Zoom and it's super weird and awkward. And we do a show, but I make them laugh just like I would at a regular comedy show. And we raise some money, man. We send that to charity.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the audience reacts, which is fantastic. I mean, you don't necessarily have to take them on an Insta live session and things like that. And you've had
Dude,
some good moments
don't we
there.
have enough Insta lives in the world right now, Rishi? I'm sorry. Even the people watching this, aren't you sick and tired of, hey guys, look, my makeup tutorial and my yoga video and oh man, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Which brings me to a tone of gratitude. I know you're inundated with Insta live requests, and I'm just so happy that you agreed to do this, man. So
But dude,
big
this
ups
is,
to you.
I'm talking to my friend, so this is chill. You know.
Thank you, brother. Thank you,
Ah,
brother. Oh my God, where do I start as far as Hasmukh is concerned, man? It's just so dope. It's unbelievable. It's so difficult to switch off. I mean, I was on it till 3:20 last night, till I reminded myself saying, I might want to look a little fresh. Looks is not looks is not something I'm known for. So I could still
yeah.
get away with looking like shit, but maybe, could do with a few hours. Fascinating stuff, man. Absolutely fascinating stuff. And I believe you've been at it for a few years just to green
Three and a
light.
half years. 3.5
Whoa.
years.
Tell me that.
I mean, dude, everybody for years and years and years were like, Veerdas is a good comic and he's a bad actor. So I figured I might as well play a bad comic and a good actor. So that's really where it came from. I was like, let me try and play this cringy, comedian who does like UP shadis and does that that GEC television of universe of comedy where when I first came to Bombay, people tried to put me in that universe, and I was like, I cannot write these jokes because I don't think they're funny at all. The Pati Patni and all of that stuff. So I just thought, let me play a guy in that universe because that's the complete opposite of me. But let me make it very, very dark and very, very, it's more drama than it is comedy. Like, I think it's not dark comedy, it's dark comedians. That's really the universe of the show. So, yeah,
And when people turn around and say, "Oh my God, those lines that Hasmukh delivers are not funny," that's the whole
yeah,
point.
that's the point of the show. Yeah,
That's the point of the show. I mean, no disrespect to modern day GEC comedians, but
yeah,
back in the day when the movement started off, and I'm
yeah,
sure in the backwaters of central India, some parts of northern India, this stuff is really lit, man. I mean, that's what you do when you the politician with the
yeah, man.
what is it
Like,
called, katta, sitting in the
yeah.
front row.
I mean, dude, if I had done, we had two options on Hasmukh, right? Either we write the most terrible jokes that we can. Because really the idea was to break the image that I have, right? That completely break it up top. So we knew the jokes couldn't be even, I mean, I'm not saying my jokes are great, but they're decent, so we couldn't have decent jokes in this. So either we were like, should we hire a top Hindi comic to help me write jokes, you know? But he's just starting out. He's not there yet. That's
Yeah.
season 3. That's when Hasmukh becomes, great at comedy and all of that stuff. Then you're like, hey, can we get, Grover or somebody to help write, jokes that are really, really good? Because I cannot write Hindi comedy jokes, and I'm very clear about that. And also, we were like, if the jokes are even halfway decent, would you notice the acting? Then you just
Yep.
be like, Veer is playing Veer Das at the end of the day. So we're like, just let's do the complete opposite. Let it be nothing like me. Let the jokes be terrible. And yeah, I mean, look, 10% of people are not getting it. And I'm going to be honest about that. People are like, but the jokes are not funny. Critics are like, but the jokes are not funny. And a lot of just, I feel like anybody who gets it is just kind of going, okay, boomer, move on. Like that's but yeah,
But
that's where we live.
this is not a spoiler because it's been mentioned enough saying that he commits murders to get his mojo,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
for a comedian to get a mojo, which in lay parlance is feels the
yeah,
pill, which is
feel.
beautiful, the
Huh.
pill. So how do you get your pill, man? In Veer Das real life.
Okay, so I do have a belt. Like the where Petty Killer came from is I have a belt that I have won, that I wore for every show since I was 21 years old. So 19 years I've worn this belt. I won't go on stage without this belt.
Sorry to interrupt,
And
but is it? It means your girth, your waist size hasn't expanded all these years, which is
not
quite
that much.
incredible.
No, yeah, yeah. And I'll do like, okay, this is very cheesy, man, but like you know, that moment where people are like cheering your name, they're like, and the lights have gone down, etc. I remind myself to stay humble in that moment. Because I feel like if you enjoy that moment too much, you're fucked. Then you go on stage and you're like, main star hai, etc., etc. So in that moment, I think of my parents, my wife, my dog. And I'm like, you're nothing more than their son, her husband, and his father. And then I go on stage with that. So that's my little ritual.
Speaking of dog, he's not very happy with this work at home stuff, dude.
Dude,
I've
I'll
seen
show
some
you
very,
one
very
second.
angsty visuals of him.
Say hi to Hrishi K watching.
You're not happy with Papa working from home. Yeah, the work from home thing is not working for you, I know.
He's like, dude, you've been on tour for 10 years. What are you doing here? I'm not that good a dog also. So he's like, have
Yeah.
you just discovered me? What's happened? Huh.
But the dog thing, I mean, I know that you feel very strongly about pets, especially what's
Yeah.
happening during this lockdown. Have you always had a pet from when you can remember, when you were a kid,
Yeah.
or is it like a recent thing?
Since I was 7, we've had dogs all my
Hmm.
life. And that's from Africa coming back to India as well. So, yeah, I mean, also, I don't know, like, I don't have kids, not yet, hopefully someday. But I feel like, kids, they love you on a weekly basis. Dogs love you on a daily basis. If you know what I mean? So, yeah,
Father of two, brother. I know exactly what you're
father or two,
talking
there you
about.
go. Yeah, yeah.
So what are you doing for groceries? I mean, is it delivered downstairs and you go down with your PPE on, or are you managing to go out once a week? Yeah.
So we're very lucky, Rishi, because there's two things. One, we have a corner store that has drawn the chalk on the floor. So I can go, I can stand in line. There's social distancing. We're following that. And also, there's a sabzi wala that comes and parks himself at the top of our street. And, then we get to, and he comes every day. So Touchwood, we're very, very fortunate. A lot of people aren't that fortunate, in different neighborhoods in Mumbai. So, yeah.
Good stuff. So I'm going to come back to Hasmukh. Now,
Huh.
the premise is just so damn good that you would think that people would jump at it.
Yeah.
But you still need the Samir Nayars and the Nikhil Advanis of this world. I mean, these are all seasoned people who've
Yeah, yeah,
seen
yeah.
the advent of television and cinema through the years.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
just getting Nick and getting Munisha and Samir and Deepak onto this project, what applause has brought to the table, how weird ass Amog and yourself
Yeah.
and them and Neeraj Pandey have collaborated to make this thing happen, man.
So the idea was born at Weird Ass Comedy. Me and Amog wrote him down. He was called Patel, by the way. Hasmukh was first called Patel, the comedian. And then after that, and I'll just be honest with you, Masti Zadi came out. And I was like, nobody is going to trust me as an actor right now, in no way, shape, or form. And then I did a short film with Milab Zaveri called Raak about 5 months after Masti Zaad. Then I was very dark in that thing. So then I was like, okay, maybe I can go out to market with something. And I went to Monisha. And I was like, I know nobody in the market wants to work with me. I'm outcast right now. But will you please have a look at this? And then Nikhil was like, man, this is great, but we have to make him the opposite of you. So Nikhil Advani and I worked on it for a year before anybody would look at us. And then we took it to Sameer Nair because we didn't take it to Netflix just yet. I think everybody else said no in the market. And then we took
Wow.
it to and then we took it to Sameer Nair. He said yes, and then we took it to Netflix. By that time, the first Netflix special had come out, the second Netflix special had come out, and life changed. So it's 4 years.
What was the reason why they said no? I mean, you don't have to take names necessarily, but generically, what were the reactions you were getting? Because I'm thinking this premise is just so unbelievable. You know, it's just
I think
wonderful.
it was me, man. I was just not in a good place market-wise. You know what I'm saying? And really, nobody wanted to. I mean, I hadn't created a show yet. You know, since after that, I did the Netflix specials in Destination and all of that stuff. But nobody was thinking of me as a producer or a writer or as a creative producer or anything. It's just, you know, I had a guy who's a comic. That's it.
And the fact that Ranveer's character is just a perfect foil for Hasmukh's character.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes for the girl. Hasmukh hesitates and, you know, indulges in romance. He
All
says,
of
you know,
Hasmukh's success, Jimmy enjoys,
the
basically.
Mecca.
Yeah. Every bit of success that Hasmukh has, Jimmy enjoys that successfully. Hasmukh does not. It's a great character. I love writing it.
We had asked, and you were very convinced it had to be Ranveer. Do you know Ranveer like from a friend zone in the sense? Do you know him from before as a
Yeah,
buddy
man.
or just as a professional? I mean,
As a writer, I used to write for all these comedy shows, these GC comedy shows, and Ranveer was on the Great Indian Comedy Show, etc. So I've been a fan of him and Vinay for a very, very long time. When he agreed to do it, you know, I knew it had to be one of them. And when we got Ranveer, I was just like, man, this is going to be incredible. And he's my favorite character in the whole show. As a writer and as a performer, he's my favorite character in the whole show. So yeah.
Yeah. And you know, the ensemble just comes through. I mean, I look at people like Manoj Bawa, I look at Inamul Haq. You know, these are guys who are normally on the fringes of other works, but they're really the spine of this whole piece, aren't they? I mean, just the way they've come across, even the girls in the TV channel and things like that. Ravi Kissan, you know, who almost takes his Bhojpuri cool and makes it so urban.
Yeah, it's a very kitsch show. It's very loud. It's very outrageous. It's very kitsch. You know, it's unapologetically kitsch and popcorny. But I didn't want there to be like. I tried to go against type with everybody that we cast, right? So you've not seen Manoj Bawa like that ever in your life.
Ever.
You know, you've not seen Ravi Kissan play like suave, cool channel head. He's usually a little more rustic and a little more, you know, over the top in that. Also, Amrita is very sophisticated and demure, and I really wanted to make her a hardcore badass character who's a fighter. You know, so we just tried to go fully against type with everybody that we had. You know, Ranveer, I gave him the gold teeth. He was just so unhappy about all of that shit, but he looks so good.
Oh, he was unhappy about that, is it?
I mean, those gold teeth were tough, man. To put on in every this thing, to put on gold teeth is tough.
And you know that this whole Robin Hood kind of thing, of course, Robin Hood just stole. I mean, this guy murders. I found it ridiculous, and I started questioning myself, saying, I'm rooting for this guy when he's doing all these dark things.
Yeah.
And I doff my hat to you, man. You've just played it the way that, you know, people end up still rooting for this guy. And was that part of the script, or did that evolve while you were doing
that was Nikhil Advani. Nikhil Advani, you know, because I have, from many years of acting, an urge to be funny, right? And the one thing that Nikhil Advani and my director, Nikhil Gonzalez, kept saying is, Veer, don't be funny. Don't be funny. Don't be funny. Just suffer. We have to make this guy suffer. And if you suffer, everybody will root for you in this show. If you don't suffer, or you come off even slightly cool or slightly funny or slightly this thing, you're a murderer and everybody will hate you. So that's the trick. You have to put Hasmukh through terrible shit every single day. And then they'll root for him, you know.
And look at these numbers, man. I mean, you've overtaken Money Heist, in multiple countries, is going
That's
#1.
insane, dude. That's insane. Like, because Money Heist is season 4. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
gigantic show, So for us to be above them, I was just like, man, I was not expecting that at all in the least. So yeah.
Okay, guys, all of you are catching this broadcast. Please ask questions. The last 5 minutes shall be devoted to questions. I shall curate them. So no trolling. And even if you troll, you're not
It's
going to get on. So,
it's fine. It's I get trolled enough. So yeah.
yeah, you've developed that thick skin, haven't you?
Well, at this point, I have no skin. They've just taken my skin. That's it. I'm sorry. My dog is scratching himself, so I'm going to sit down next to it. Cool.
So, the industry is at a very, very low phase, for the lack of using any other. I mean, it's not like radio where you can stay at
Yeah.
home, get a software, and just do your program
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do phoners instead of having live guests. I mean, even eventually when you start filming, the crew might have masks and PPE, but
Yeah.
the actors were on set. I mean, for example, Ranveer and yourself and Inamul and the gang, I can't even imagine you using those masks. So
Yeah.
there is a sense of despondency and despair. I mean, have you been talking to colleagues, associations? Where is this all going, man? It's not looking very good, is it?
No, it's not. And I think more than, being allowed to do it, you're fighting a psychology of when are people going to be comfortable being in groups together again? That's a longer psychology. That's a longer game. So I don't know. I take solace in the fact that I work in an industry with unlimited demand. Your need to watch a movie varies on a daily basis. Your need to listen to classical music varies on a daily basis, but you want to laugh every day, without fail. So luckily there's that, and we'll find other ways to make people laugh. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, revenue is such an important thing. Even this small, I mean, this wasn't an experiment. This was more from the heart because you wanted to do stuff for COVID relief. But
Yeah,
if people really want the content, they are willing to pay for it. I mean, how much
absolutely. Yeah,
remains
yeah.
to be seen. That's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
you
We
know.
charge. I mean, I've always been clear, and you know this about me. My content costs money. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm unapologetic about that. So you should have to pay for it. On my shows, what we said on the Zoom shows is we'll give it as much as the last row if you were coming to see me live costs. So when you come and see me live, my front row is about 5 grand. My last row is 500. So my tickets are 500. That's how we're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And eventually, I mean, everybody says the barometer is Akshay Kumar. The day
Yeah.
Akshay Kumar decides to get onto an OTT film, irrespective of which platform it is,
Yeah.
you know that people are not going to go back to the theaters for 3 to 6 months. Do
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
that happening? I mean, this is just your experience as a movie person, man.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I've just gotten back to being a working actor again. You know what I
You're keeping it simple. You're not
mean? Yeah.
thinking of the larger issues. Yeah.
I've been called an actor more in the last 72 hours than I have in the last decade, man. So yeah.
So instead of thinking of the Khans and the Kumars, you'd rather just think of that.
मैं तो
I buy
अभी
that, bro.
एक्टर
I buy that.
अभी एक्टर बना है मैं अभी एक्टर बना है हाँ
No, but really, I mean, at the end of it, we've already seen this huge OTT boom.
yeah
Do you visualize that happening? I mean, theaters have to get occupied. I mean, you can use them as multi-pronged spaces to do parties and stand-up comedy gigs and things like that. You were one of the pioneers of that early in the day.
I
But
think
ultimately,
outdoors is a big the next time I do stand up it'll be outdoors and during the day it'll be in the sunshine. That's what I'm thinking. That's
wow,
what I'm going to go
that's
with
damn
stand up. Yeah.
interesting, man.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Now, this is not a spoiler because very early on you said season 3. So
No.
already I see all these guys screaming out saying, Hasmukh season 2 when, season 3 when.
This is crazy. I mean, for this to be happening, the show came out 2 days ago, man. You know what I mean? So this is insane. We hope there will be a season 2. We left you on a cliffhanger at the end of season 1. Let's hope the powers that be give us the green light and we'll go from there, man. But I think were we fortunate enough to get one, everybody on it would come back and we'd have a good time.
Stephen Matthews says, Whiskey Cavalier season 2. I saw a wonderful picture from Whiskey Cavalier to Hasmukh, the suave, suited, booted man, to the
Sadly,
Saharanpur Adami.
yeah, sadly, Whiskey Cavalier was cancelled. There will not be a season 2, but whenever the normal comes back, you'll see me in an American TV show very soon. I have one in development. So yeah.
Lovely. Somebody just turned around and talked podcast. Do you think that
Huh.
was, in some ways, a second innings for your career in terms of how you just went out there and did that stuff and said, "Dekhi jayegi yaar, karte hain."
I mean, podcast was just me on the shit pot talking about the news, right? Which is where I read the paper and all. I don't know. We'll see, man. I think I'm just learning to not overthink it at all. Just find an idea and do it, and we'll see what happens, man.
Okay, so what are you guys doing for food? I mean, are you cooking it yourself, or is there some home delivery that has started? How good are your cooking chops?
Okay, so we have a part-time cook, and we didn't really feel like he was staying in the safest place. And we felt the same thing for our driver and our maid, all of whom were part-time. So when the lockdown happened, we convinced all of them to move in with us, so that they wouldn't be staying with like 10 other people somewhere or looking for a place to stay. And they work in other houses, and we kind of said, no, we'll cover your whatever you earn on a monthly basis. We'll cover that. Just come and stay and be safe. So we're doing that. So that actually worked out really well. I have a cook and a maid full time. It just means
Can't
we've
complain.
gone from a 2-person house to a 5-person house, and that's the thing. Because we have 5 people. Like my staff sleeps in my study where I'm talking to you right now. So that's a little bit of a change, but that's cool. We have roommates now.
Are you also working in some music during this phase? I mean, I imagine you have a little bit of extra time. Yeah.
Okay, this is very bad, and it's going to be bad when it comes out. But I'm working on some hip hop stuff, like a rap album, like
Whoa.
comedy rap. Yeah, so we'll see when it comes out.
And your
It'll be
usual suspect collaborators, or you just
absolutely
doing
alien
this on
chatting.
your
Yeah,
own?
for sure, alien chatting. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
let's
the
go
reboot.
to questions.
Okay.
Go to questions. This is Pra. If I was supposed to assist Veer in his future shows, I want to assist and learn. Whom should I contact? Are you into apprenticeships, brother?
No, man, and it didn't work for me or Hasmukh to be an apprentice. So, but you can write to weirdasscomedy.com. Get on the website, and we have an employment thing, so we can go from there. Yeah.
Okay. Is the concept of feeling good, this is S1701. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the concept of feeling good before the show at the beginning true? I think what they want to know is, are you nervous before you do a gig, or are you really confident? I mean, I hope I'm not misreading that.
Yeah, I think with the first 30 seconds of a show, you can get them in 3 minutes, you can keep them for an hour. If you can't get them in 3 minutes, you will not have them for an hour. So the first 3 minutes of energy that you go out there with are super important. So feel matlab is a real thing. And I think not just for comics, but for public speakers, actors, everything. Feel chahiye.
Riya Manchanda, how did you get into the mindset for Hasmukh, Veer?
I wrote him, so I kind of knew who he was quite a bit. I spent 3 years writing him. But it was largely, I had to change my accent. I put on weight for Hasmukh. I'm quite heavy in Hasmukh. I'm about 11 kilos heavier. And also, I tied my hands up when I was working on Hasmukh. So if you notice, Hasmukh doesn't use his hands. He uses one hand. But otherwise, comedians were like, hey, we talk with our hands. So the minute that, sorry, I'm getting a call. Why is my call happening right now? Very sorry, Hrishi K. To hang up on this fucking person. Sorry. So I had to tie up my hands, and I knew who he was. I knew what his backstory was. So that just helped.
Ruth Rago, who is your guru, Veer Das?
Who's
your guru?
4 top comics are Johnny Lever for stage emotion, Richard Pryor for turning suffering into comedy, George Carlin because he did not care what anybody thought, and Dave Chappelle because he captures the times that we live.
Uttara, what is your favorite scene in Hasmukh, Veer Das?
My favorite scene is where it's a mix of two. And he explains to her why he should write his own stuff. Because, that's an important thing for a comedian. And there's a scene with Hasmukh and Jimmy in a vanity van where they realize that they failed. Those are my two favorite scenes in the show.
Shefali, how much time did it take for shooting Hasmukh, beginning to end?
A year, because I shot Whiskey Cavalier and Hasmukh at the same time. So I would go to Prague for a week and then come back to Mumbai for 4 days and then Prague for a week, and that's how we shot both shows.
Amrut Menon, the best heckle you have ever got.
When I was early in my career, a journalist stood up in the middle of the show and said, "Why are you doing this?" And I was like, "This joke," and she's like, "No, comedy in general. You should stop." And I was like, "Wow, that's very powerful." Yeah, that's probably the biggest one that I've had.
Okay, is this, I don't know, Masti Zade or Hasmukh? Is that even a question? That's just epic. Veerdas is
Yeah,
epic. He will forever be remembered for this.
as मस्ती ज़्यादा, yeah. मैं एक दिन गोल्डन ग्लोब जीत जाएगा, लोग बोलेंगे लेकिन मस्ती ज़्यादा, you know, like that will be the definitely Hasmukh. But hey, both are on Netflix. You can watch both right now if you want.
Yeah. Please say a dialogue from Hasmukh, Insta Wishy. Let's go for a dialogue.
Okay. नमस्कार, हमारा नाम हसमुख. शांत हो जाइए, हम आ गए हैं. और थोड़ा मुस्कुराइए ना. अरे क्या हुआ? कोई मर गया क्या? So that's the big dialogue.
You know, I was thinking, I hope he does that line. I just love it. It just says everything about the show, isn't it? How cool is that? Somebody asked, what makes you laugh? That's interesting. You make everybody laugh. What makes you laugh?
I like old stupid movies. So like Mel Brooks movies. I like Jaani Bhi Do Yaaro. And then I read a lot, so like funny books make me laugh. That's my thing.
Akul Kapoor, what is your favorite movie, Veerdas?
Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks in English, and Chalti Ka Naam Gaadi. It's a very old school movie, but that's my favorite Hindi movie.
Now, this is back to a question from me. So, how did you fall in love, man? I mean, are you the kind of guy who is like, you know, 2 हफ्ते का प्यार भी हो तो intensity इंतहा की, or are you the kind of guy who takes a lot of time falling in love? How did it work with the wife? You know, are you a difficult person to fall head over heels in love with?
I fall in love very, very easily.
You fall in love.
I'm a very difficult person to fall in love with because I'm a withdrawn artist who travels too much. But my wife does a fantastic job. My wife, after 10 years of complaining you travel too much, in this lockdown has suddenly been like, the second the lockdown is done, you need to leave and go on tour. So yeah.
So you fell in love with her at Hello? Is that how it happened, or was it like a college
She
romance
gate
kind of
crashed
thing?
my housewarming party. So that's how we fell in love. So I moved into a new house and she gate crashed. So yeah.
Payal Manganani, how did your journey begin? I want to be a comedian. Interesting question. So for young comedians out there.
I wrote a stand-up comedy show in my final year of college, and then I was in Chicago and I was doing open mics. So like any other comedian, open micing. Booed off stage a few weeks in a row because it was a very hardcore open mic, and then I kind of went from there, you know, from theater to comedy.
Vig 845, which actress would you like to work with? Is there a favorite actress?
Deepika, I think she's the best. I think she's elegant and she's humble and she's talented and she's so intelligent. So yeah, Deepika.
Raghav Bhaumik, Hasmukh has a pretty dark side to himself. Did you by any chance go method to play the character? What do you mean? Is he try to kill somebody?
Yeah, I murdered people every day. There's a vanity van full of bodies. No, Hasmukh is the opposite of me. So no, absolutely not.
Okay, man, we're coming into the last minute of our conversation. I'm of the opinion, as much as you are, that interviews have to be the right size.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what did you aspire to become during childhood? Anuj, interesting one. Did you want to be an astronaut, comedian? What?
Teacher. I wanted to teach Shakespeare. So I always wanted to be a teacher. So someday I hope maybe I'll retire and become a college professor. I don't know. We'll see.
Sorry, somebody asked, and I'm sorry I didn't get your name. It just flashed past very quickly. How long did it take you to write the Knox College speech? That's an interesting one.
Honestly, about 72 hours because I was really slacking on it. And then I arrived in America and started writing that speech. So it is very quickly written. Sometimes that works out.
Bro, it's going to be a little difficult for people to turn around and when they get back to work to eventually become, Indians as a species were huggy people,
Yeah.
We don't like shake hands and do this distance kind of thing. Will you instinctively go and get back to huggable hugging Veer Das? Or is it going to take you time once the
Well,
lockdown is over?
I think it's going to go the opposite. I think the minute a vaccine comes around or a discernible cure comes around, we're not going to be able to keep our hands off each other. And I think that'll be true for the entire world. So I think you're going to see babies and marriages and all sorts of things happening the second this lockdown is done.
And whoever makes that vaccine is going to be a really, really, really rich person.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody asked, is there a Delhi Belly 2? Have you guys ever thought of doing a sequel? What a film that was. Cult, man.
I don't know. I hope there is. I think everybody'd come back for it if there ever was one, for sure.
Last question. What is your most embarrassing moment on stage? Oh, God, I missed that name again. It just went past. What's your most embarrassing moment?
My pants ripped at a club in Philadelphia, wide open, and then two very sweet Indian ladies gave me safety pins from their purse, and like sewed up my pants while they were still on me as I continued to do comedy. So yeah,
Voila.
yeah.
Brother, what's the first thing you're going to do when the lockdown is lifted, man?
Go see my parents. They're in Noida. I haven't seen them in a while, so that's number one on my agenda. So yeah.
Lovely. Veer, this has been fun. God bless you. And speak soon, man, in person. Cheers.
All right, done.
Take care, brother.
Thanks, Hrishi.
Bye.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.